According to our tradition, the first thing you're supposed to do following the conclusion of Yom Kippur, after eating bagels and lox, is to put up your sukkah. Why? Because the rabbis teach mitzvah ha'ba'a leyado al yachmitzena. When the opportunity to perform a mitzvah presents itself, you shouldn't put it off, you don't wait. Rather, you strive to perform mitzvot right away as soon as you possibly can. But this year, for various reasons, I wasn't able to put up my sukkah the day after Yom Kippur on Tuesday. Instead, I put it up on Thursday. And the first thing I did after Yom Kippur this year on Tuesday wasn't to put up my sukkah, but rather, I went to see the first possible showing I could see of the 40th anniversary re-release of the classic Talking Heads concert film, Stop Making Sense. I was lucky enough to see Stop Making Sense in IMAX in a beautifully remastered 4K version, and it was an incredible experience. I was transported back in time. I genuinely felt like I was sitting in the front row of the Hollywood Pantages Theater watching a Talking Heads concert 40 years ago. Stop Making Sense is widely considered to be one of the great concert films ever made. Its soundtrack has sold millions of copies. In 2021, the Library of Congress added Stop Making Sense to the National Film Registry, deeming it as having enduring importance to American culture, and due not only to its music, but to its groundbreaking cinematography. Stop Making Sense has made an indelible impact on all subsequent concert films. And I'm embarrassed to admit that until this past week, I had never seen it. But on Tuesday, I finally saw it, and what a joy it was to behold. And what struck me most about the movie was the way that the band on stage was having the absolute time of their lives. The energy exuded by the Talking Heads in that movie is remarkable, especially from David Byrne, the Talking Heads frontman. From his quirky dance moves to the band's extremely tight musical arrangements, their enthusiasm is palpable for 2 straight hours. It's impossible not to be drawn in by the sheer joy that those band members were experiencing on stage. Every moment of that movie is a testament to the Talking Heads' love of music and the joy they received from sharing their music with the world. But even more importantly, the love for each other comes across so beautifully in that movie. The band members work seamlessly together, feeding off each other's energy and creativity. Their sense of unity and mutual respect is evident in every song they perform. It is an incredible thing to behold. When the film's director, Jonathan Demme, captured the Talking Heads performances that make up that movie in December of 1983, 40 years ago, he really was capturing lightning in a bottle, a band at the absolute peak of their creative powers. But it didn't last. As happy as things may have appeared on stage, in reality, things were much darker behind the scenes. The band was beset by tension. They wanted to go in different directions, musically and creatively, and David Byrne was notoriously difficult to work with. The Talking Heads went on hiatus after that tour in 1983, and they never came back together. They never toured again. Unbeknownst to anyone at that time, Stop Making Sense captured the Talking Heads' final moments on stage until a brief reunion when they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2002. So why am I telling you all this morning? Because I think, in many ways, Stop Making Sense is the ultimate Sukkot movie, and maybe it's a stretch, but just bear with me. I'm so glad it was re-released the week of Sukkot, because Sukkot is the holiday, more than any other holiday, that reminds us of the ephemeral, fleeting nature of life. A sukkah, by definition, is temporary. We put it up for a week, and then it comes down. In fact, there are strict legal restrictions about how tall a sukkah can be. It cannot be higher than 20 amot, approximately 30 feet, because if it was taller than 30 feet, then it could be considered a permanent structure. Sukkot are fragile. They're fragile dwellings made up of fragile materials that can be blown over at any moment. And they're here for a very short time, just a week each year. We put up Sukkot every year to remind us of our own fragility, of the fleeting nature of our lives. We are fragile. We can be blown over at any moment, and we are here only for a very short while. We read the book of Ecclesiastes on Sukkot, a book which also reminds us of the fragile, ephemeral nature of life. Dor holech v'dor ba. One generation comes, one generation goes. The sun rises, but the sun also sets. Life is fleeting, Ecclesiastes reminds us time and again. So what's the wisdom of Sukkot? Why do we really need a holiday devoted to reminding us of the ephemeral nature of life? Well, Sukkot is also known as Zman Simchatenu, the time of our great joy. And although those two concepts, joy and the inevitable nature of death, may seem opposed to one another, I think actually they're intrinsically intertwined and they complement one another. Life is joyous and beautiful and meaningful precisely because it is fleeting. I say this to my wife about our daughter all the time. Amalia is absolutely perfect right now. Let's freeze her so she doesn't grow or change anymore. She should stay exactly as she is at this very moment for the rest of her life. But the truth is, I don't really want that. Because if she were going to be a toddler forever, then I wouldn't treasure every step, every word, every miraculous development that I'm witnessing unfold every day. This stage of her life is so beautiful precisely because it's fleeting. If a child were going to celebrate their bar or bat mitzvah every Shabbat, it would lose its meaning. It's meaningful because it is a fleeting moment. It happens once, and it's over. And if the talking heads continue to tour for the last 40 years, then I can assure you that Stop Making Sense would not have the same impact that it has today. It's such a beautiful film because it captured that very final moment of joy for the band just before they dissolved forever. Mutability, the passing away of things, is precisely what makes them precious. And that's what Sukkot and the book of Ecclesiastes teach us. Enjoy your life because none of us are here forever. All of us could be blown over at any moment, just like a sukkah. Dor holech v'dor ba. One generation comes, one goes. So embrace Zman Simchatenu, not just today, but every day. That's what it means to be Jewish, to live our lives with joy while we still can. Because in the words of the great David Byrne and the Talking Heads, we only have once in a lifetime. Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach.